What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we look back on our favorite moments in Baylor Athletics from the 2023-2024 season. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod. Follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Thank Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Bear insider, Jerry Hill. And Jerry, got to lay some ground rules down here, okay? Because I know you don't like following the rules or the instructions, as much of our listeners and viewers would know, right?
I mean, you can put the rules out there however you want, but I'm going to follow my own rules.
See, I was right.
You know what? I've been around long enough that I think I can do my own rules. So, Justin, whatever you say, that's fine. You know, you play by your rules, I'll play by mine.
Okay, so we're going to go top 3 moments. There's a lot of moments we can look at. We're not necessarily looking at seasons, teams, moments during the year as we go back 23-24. It's been a long 9 months of competition from August when soccer hit the field to track and field as they'll end the season out in Eugene next week. But let's start out at number 3. We'll flip back and forth. Jerry, you're getting the first selection on each of these. Number 3, what do you got?
Well, here's what I've got. I'm going to go with men's basketball defeating number 12 Iowa State 70-68. That was on February 3rd at the Foster. A lot of details about that game. It was a weird one. It was one that Scott Drew did not see the end of. He spent the last 11 plus minutes of that game sitting with Mac Rhodes back in the locker room because he was ejected after 2 technicals. But what turned out to be, just a really, it was obviously an exciting game. I didn't think, Scott never says much and certainly doesn't do anything really to warrant, basically back-to-back technical fouls. But that is what happened. They called him outside of the box, outside of the coaching box. And so he wound up getting ejected for the first time in his career. And that's not why I picked this as my number 3, but just it was a great game. Iowa State came roaring back. Baylor was kind of in control most of the game, but Iowa State had 20-0 run, got, back in the lead. But then Jaden Nunn, went length of the court, hit a bucket through contact with about 2 seconds left, to put Baylor up 2. Oh, but wait, it's not over. Iowa State actually had another shot at it, and they were able to get off the shot that actually initially they said, I think they didn't get it off in time, or I don't remember exactly the call there at the end, but drained a three-pointer from about 30 feet that would have given the Bears another gut punch loss. But this time the call went the way of Baylor as the replay review showed that the ball was still in Mamlikovic's hand when the clock went to 0.0. It was that close. So, again, just a great game. Jaden Nunn with the game winner, but then Baylor had to kind of withstand that deal at the end where Iowa State got the ball back with 1.3 seconds left. And if I remember right, Justin, you can probably help me on this too, but I think there was a situation with the clock. Like, I don't think Iowa State had a timeout, if I remember right, but there was just so much stuff going on in that game. It was crazy, but that's my number 3 pick for moments of the year in Baylor athletics.
Yeah, the Zebras, the officials, Zebras as I used to call them back in the day. It was a challenging night. It was a challenging night to put it at that. But yes, I'm surprised. You don't remember they counted that basket. Jeff Hartness was all about it. He counted it. That was a count at the end. He was emphatic with his arm that counted. And of course, saying our Baylor Vision crew did a great job. Got the replay up right away. The crowd saw Milanovich's hand on the basketball as 0.0 went off, and so before Jeb and crew could actually call the shot off, the crowd already knew who won the game. So that was impressive. That was a great moment. And I'll say this much too. I've been at a lot of venues. That was the loudest basketball game I've ever been at in Waco, Texas, period. That game, obviously, anytime, the challenging of the officials and calls go against the home crowd, you're going to be a little extra up on your seat. And that was one of those games. I've never seen a louder game in Waco, Texas. And that's one of the loudest ones I've been a part of. I mean, heck, I've been to Kansas 5 or 6 times, Texas Tech, West Virginia. A lot of times those fans have other things going on to get their energy going, if you know what I'm saying, Jerry. You know what I'm saying. But they're loud as well. And so that was an impressive night, and one I'll remember. And I'm hopeful for many more atmospheres like that. That was top 10 That was a top 10 atmosphere in college basketball. If we can do that consistently, we can be a top 10 program in terms of atmosphere. And I think we definitely can do that with our top 10 programs coming next season, everything we got going on there. Okay, my number 3, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Seemed like it happened just yesterday, right? I feel like I was back in West Virginia just yesterday, winning their 9th consecutive national championship. And so what a impressive effort. I mean, the individuals on these teams, pound for pound, we've said it many times, pound for pound, they are the best student athletes at Baylor Athletics, the strongest in terms of that. And so, you just got some stars in this team. Bailey Humphrey, I'm excited to see what her future looks like. She's got some things after college. We'll let her announce it on her own time. But she, was something that I think you're gonna hear from her again. Okay. And you're going to be like others, she's become very viral on social media, as has others on that team. Just really impressed with that whole team. And so Baylor Acrobatics, number 9. Next year they'll go for number 10. And I asked Fee Malky about 10 minutes after the win, hey, you ready for number 10? Because that's what you do, right? You got to go on to the next, you turn the page. And so they'll be ready for that. But that's my number 3 moment. Okay, Jerry, moving back to you. Number 2.
Do I not get to comment on your number 3? Like you commented a ton on my number 3. So, but
I was adding in corrections because you are unsure if that basket counted, and I've had nightmares where that thing actually counted. But right. Yes.
Right.
Go right ahead. You can.
All I'll say is, what made this one special was, that it was actually a fight. That the Gannon was right there. It was, I'm not going to say it was down to the wire or anything like that, but they really got pushed. And if you look back at their 8 previous, this was the closest one. This was the closest national championship win that Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling has had. So that to me, and I think that even gets, the team Fee. I think it gets all of them really pumped up when they get pushed a little bit like that. So, it's not like they want to give it up, but I think they like being pushed like that. But yeah, that was a great moment. Okay, I'll go with my number 2. And my number 2 was not a great season for Baylor football, but this one I will remember probably for a long time. Greatest comeback in Baylor football history, coming from 28 points down on the road to beat UCF 36-35. What a great game, Justin. I mean, it's 7 minutes into the second half. It was 28-7 at the half. And then UCF goes right down the field, scores to make it 35-7, about 8 minutes left in the third quarter, a real long drive. So, I mean, you've got 23 minutes left. The fans are literally leaving. They are flocking out because they're like, the game's over. It's 35-7 against Baylor, and they're leaving. But Baylor, man, they just didn't give up. Great comeback. Couple big plays by Caden Jenkins was the difference. He had an interception, that led to one score, but then, his big scoop and score there to get it to 35-33. That was the play of the game. One of the best plays of the year, I would say, for Baylor football. But then here's the thing. So it's 35-7, 37 minutes into the game. And this kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. The Baylor defense didn't give up another point the rest of the day. And so, yes, the offense did its job. Caden Jenkins, big score, but the defense didn't give up another point. So I think that maybe gets lost in the shuffle in a comeback like this. Because if you give up probably a field goal or a touchdown or something, that game is over. But Baylor just kept fighting and took the lead late in the game. And then even after that, UCF picks up a couple of fourth down conversions and has a field goal, a really long field goal late at the game, but comes up well short. But yeah, that was a great win by Baylor football. They're fairly early in the year. It was September 30th. So yeah, that was it's one of the best comebacks. Well, it's the best comeback I've ever seen from Baylor football, but one of the best comebacks I've seen, period, in athletics. So that was my number 2, Justin.
Good number two. We were both at that game. That was a wild one. I'll add some commentary here where it was expected to rain that day. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the weather people were wrong. Meteorologists wrong again. Okay. We know they're wrong a lot, and it's not an easy job. So they were wrong. I wore rain pants for that game. Wow, was that a mistake? Okay. Rain pants with like gym shorts underneath, maybe. And I had to wear those rain pants the whole day. And I mean, we're talking late in that game. It's humid. It's Orlando, Florida. It's probably 90 degrees. I felt like I was playing in the game, but made it out. Yeah, great comeback. And I'd say, man, that kind of a microcosm of Baylor a little bit this year. A lot of fight in a lot of the teams. And I think maybe we'll hear more fight later on one of our memories or moments here. But yeah, great moment there for Jerry. Okay, my number 2 is going back to March 24th when women's basketball went on the road to Blacksburg, Virginia, and defeated Virginia Tech to advance to the Sweet 16. Went wire to wire with USC, as we know after that. But Sweet 16 and returning, I thought that was really a key for this team this season to get to the Sweet 16, and they did that, right? They moved into the top 5 at one time in the season. I really think this is kind of an early story for next year, right? This experience, this opportunity for the team to not only get in the NCAA tournament, but to advance. And for next year, with a top 10 team, they have a chance to really make some noise. So my moment here, kind of, Jerry, goes, yes, great this year, but I think it's going to be even better next year. Some foreshadowing into the future.
And if I remember right, that was the Jada Walker game. I mean, she was unbelievable in that game. So kudos to her. And, man, that was big. Justin, I think you and I agree on this part, which we don't agree on a lot of things. But I did think it was big for that women's basketball team to make it back to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 3 years, to kind of take that next step. They really needed that. I think Nikki needed that. The fan base needed that. And now that they've gone to that step, now they can take that next step. But that was big, and it was on the road. That's hard to do in women's basketball in the NCAA tournament when you have to go on the road for those first 2 games and try to get through there, just to get through the first game. But then to beat a team on the road where they're really good and beat a really good Virginia Tech team. So, yeah, I thought that was big. And that was huge for the program, I think.
Okay, this takes us to number 1, our number 1 moments from the year. Jerry, you want a drum roll?
Well, see, I really think that this one needs to be you first and then me. But we'll go by your rules. I think you like to have the last word, is why you wanted to be second on all of these. But that's fine. We'll do it. We'll do it your way.
No. I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay.
I'm giving you the last word.
Thank you.
Okay, so my number 1, it's pretty obvious, but we're going to go ahead and say it because it is one of the moments we did not say it yet. January 2nd, 2024, the Foster Pavilion opening up. Of course, the men's basketball team taking on Cornell. What the heck are y'all doing? Opening up a new arena mid-season. It was a challenge, certainly behind the scenes and in the athletic department, but man, was it a great choice, because that opportunity for us to have that venue this year for the student athletes, the advantage it gave us, the home court advantage, like we talked about against Iowa State. In my humble opinion, we do not win that game against Iowa State if that's at the Farrell Center. And so I think that got us wins on both the men's and women's sides. And it's going to get us many, many wins for future years to come. And I can see some seasons where we go undefeated in Big 12 play coming up in the not too distant future. And that propels us to another Big 12 championship. But that night was special. $200 million facility right downtown, right across right on the banks of the Brazos, right across the street from McLean Stadium, right off I-35, just everything leading up to that place, and knowing that that is our building. And this season, we'll have it for the entire year. All the practice facilities, they're not done yet. They're being built out close. We're working through graphics and different things, getting the offices all situated here in the next couple of months. It will be wide open and a full venue for us. But, going to be really special. But that moment right there, Jerry, January 2nd, honestly, I'll remember that one for the rest of my life.
It was a great moment. I no doubt. Justin, I just remember, because I hadn't been in there a lot, if at all. I guess I'd been in there maybe a couple of times. But I went in there the day before. I think we were kind of taking a look at, the media area and stuff, and did a real quick tour. And I'm looking around and I'm going, man, is this really going to be ready tomorrow night? But I tell you what, facilities, whoever, the construction crew, they did an amazing job getting it ready. I know it wasn't, pristine at that point, but man, they got it ready. They had the bowl ready, and it was exciting, man. That place was rocking. And I agree with you. There was some doubt in my mind. I had initially thought, man, if it's not ready, let's just wait till next year. But I think it was big to go ahead and open it and show people what you got. We had been waiting a long time for this, and we had told them, from fairly early on, this is when we're going to open. So I think it would have been kind of disappointing not to go ahead and get in there and play those games, play the, basically the conference season plus the Cornell men's game. So I thought that was big. To do that. You know what I thought your number one was going to be, though? So I thought,
No.
Thank you. I thought your number one for sure, because then when you even did it, what obvious is, I think what you said was, I figured it was going to be the first episode of Inside Baylor Sports, that this podcast, when we started it. I thought that was going to be your number one for the year. No?
Wow, Jerry. Wow. No, it didn't even cross my mind. I will say it was a great moment doing this podcast on a sentimental level. Okay, we'll get real sentimental. Doing this podcast with you, really getting this thing up and running and giving our fans something that they never had before. There's some great podcasts going on around there, but never one just like this. And I think we were able to do some things this year that can lead us into the future and giving our fans more content, right? They want more content. We're giving that. And it was, honestly, it was a lot of fun doing it with you. It wasn't easy, right? Just the time and also just having to see you. I mean, geez. And by the way, can we work on this off season? I'm going to get over to your office. We're going to remove some doubt. Okay. You've said that word way too much the last 2 months. We are removing all doubt for you moving forward. Okay. You need to remove the word doubt from your vocabulary. You got a great vocabulary. It's very extended with your writing expertise. We need to take that out of the equation. But no, doing these podcasts with you was fun, right, and that was a good moment, but that wasn't top three.
Okay. Well, here I am going to go with my number one, and I'm going to throw that word doubt out there one more time, Justin, just to kind of get it out there. So my number one was Baylor softball. This is maybe a little bit of a recency bias, but man, it was actually fun these last couple of weekends covering this team, because they were really, they really kind of finished this season on such a strong note. But man, I was so impressed at the Lafayette Regional. Baylor, they had obviously stayed in the winners bracket. They had actually ruled Louisiana 8-0 in the second game. And we're just having a great regional. And then you just absolutely get, just a shot to the gut. You get beat 13-0 by Louisiana. So they have every bit of the momentum. They're just, riding high, and you're thinking, okay, well, that's the end of the road. It was a fun ride while it lasted. So now it's a, if necessary, winner take all game. The winner goes to Gainesville, Florida to face number 4 Florida at their place. But Louisiana, again, just had all the momentum, seemed to really, this is their day, that kind of thing. But man, softball said, no. They had an unbelievable game. And it was one of those that I think speaks to this team, where it was a team. It wasn't one player. It wasn't Shea Govan hitting a 3-run homer to win it. It was just, really timely hitting, but it was also Riley Crandall's pitching. Taylor Strain had an unbelievable outfield assist that cut down, what would have been, it would have been the crushing blow if they had given up that run. So kudos to Taylor Strain, but, home runs by Emily Hott, Sydney Collazos, that really kind of got them going in those first couple innings. But then Shea Govan did have a sac fly that tied it up. And then Aaliyah Benford had scored or drove in the winning run with a single there. Baylor pulls it out 4-3. And again, Riley Crandall finishes it off. Just a great game. And again, spoke to the team aspect of this Baylor softball team. And then they showed it again this past weekend at the Super Regional. But that, to me, to get them to that Super Regional, first time in 7 years, that to me was my number one on the most memorable moments of the 23-24 athletic calendar.
Wow, Jerry. Great moments. Really like these moments. I'm impressed. I actually thought your moments, you were going to have some poor selections, but no, you removed all doubt and you were very good.
Here's the thing. And not that you told me to do it this way, but I kind of did it on if I was there. So that was why, I wasn't there at A&T's national championship. So these were all moments that I was at, that I got to witness. Same thing with the women's basketball versus Virginia Tech. I wasn't there. So it probably would have made my top 3. But these were all moments that I was at, including the football game, obviously, including men's basketball with the Iowa State win, and then obviously the softball beating Louisiana. So these were all events, moments that I was at, and I guess maybe maybe that elevated it, and maybe that elevated the teams. Just the fact that I was in the house, and they were able to build off of my just positivity, I guess.
I don't know about positivity. Your presence, maybe. I see where you're at. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense though? Like I did kind of pick them on because this has been a couple of years ago, but JMO, John Werner, and I did like a top 20 of our Baylor events. I think maybe throughout the whole time, and that was kind of the stipulation is you had to be there, and so I couldn't pick the men's basketball because I was not there when they won the national championship. I was covering remote. So I had covered the women's basketball in San Antonio. So I was not there in 21. So that's the same kind of thing I did here is I had to be in the house. I had to be there at the game.
I get that. I would say I would challenge you with that. That's a bit of an old school approach. I do respect it and I get it. But moving forward, especially with how you can follow games and just the way media has changed over the last 10, 15, 20 years, and the fact that now you can watch games in 4K. And quite honestly, I can rewind the game faster than you can watch the replay. And I can stop it in different spots. I can record it. I can do all kinds of stuff. I can go listen back to the announcers. There's a different way. So I would challenge you moving forward to have a little bit more evolution in that thought. But yes, I get it. And I respect it. I do respect it, but it is a bit of an old school thought. Okay. Yeah. Really good stuff there. And Jerry, I think my moment was number 1. So Yeah, it's just who could get the moments in quick enough. I do think the Foster Pavilion, but hey, that was a huge moment, and more importantly, that's not just a moment for Baylor athletics. Like that's a moment for Baylor University. That's a moment for Waco, Texas. Shoot, that's a moment for the state of Texas.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that was a big moment. Like you, I will remember that moment. I will remember that first game that I watched in the Foster Pavilion. It was memorable. And it was exciting. You got to hear the crowd for the first time in there. You got to see and witness, you got to witness this new facility, first event in this new facility. So there was a lot of history in there that goes beyond just a game. This was an event, this was a happening, and it happened right here in River City.
All right, that'll do it for today's edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a sport and story production. Thanks for listening. For Jerry Hill, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Thursday, and Sick 'em Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.